I'm Rayburn Johnson for Sample Library Review, and today I'm checking out Watchkeeper by Keep Forest. While Watchkeeper offers an excellent collection of clockwork and mechanical sounds that can be used for cool percussive layers and rhythms, the deep sound design interface and ability to import up to 47 layered user samples make this library something truly special. This library offers one of the deepest rhythmic sound design engines I've yet seen and is a goldmine for creating percussive rhythms, melodic pulses, and more. Watchkeeper is compatible with the free Kontakt Player 7.1.8 or above. It includes over 700 Kontakt patches, over 300 multis, 3,100 custom rhythm presets, over 2,000 snapshots, and much more. It downloads as 33.5 gigabytes. Watchkeeper is available from Keep Forest for $449, but at time of review was available for the introductory price of $379. This library is crazy. Most of you are probably familiar with Keep Forest and all of the different sound design instruments that they create, from things like Ferrum percussion to the Devastator series, all of the Azorex, all of the different stuff. This library is something, it's definitely in line with those other libraries, but something completely new and completely different. This one is similar to Ferrum in the sense that it gives you some really cool percussive sounds, mostly based on clockwork and things inspired by clocks, but where this thing really shines is in the deep sound design engine that it's powered with. We're going to get into it. We'll create some custom sounds as we move along to really show you the depth and power of this engine, but as always, we're barely going to scratch the surface. There's over 700 Kontakt patches here and over 300 multis, so over 1,000 patches, not counting all of the different rhythm presets and snapshots and just all of the stuff. This thing is super, super deep, as you'll see as we move along. We're just going to go ahead and dive into the folders here just to show you really quickly. You'll see that there's two different folders and then a user sample import. So there's a design folder with 13 different folders beneath that, and then there's the raw samples with 7 different folders. The other thing I should mention quickly before we dive in is that the WAV files for this library also come with it. So just another big bonus to look forward to in this library. One thing I'm really looking forward to showing you is the user sample import. You can load up to 47 different samples and layer those on top of each other to create just some super complex and rich layered sounds. Really, really cool. But before we go there, let's go ahead and dive into the designed folder. We're going to start with the impacts, and you'll see each of these folders are just loaded. So again, we're barely going to touch the surface here. But let's go ahead and start with the first one, which I already have loaded up, called Hybrid Mix Hit Mechanic. In each of these, you'll find that as I play, they actually have a ton of round robins. So for instance, that one, you can see right here, there's all sorts of round robins that as I push it, I'm going to get different sounds. So not only do you have a ton of sounds in here, but they're round robin, and you can see each of the keys, I'm playing a different sound completely. Some incredible impacts here. Now, where this gets really fun, and again, we're going to dive more deeply into the engine in a few minutes, but just to show you a little bit behind the scenes, you'll see there's 3 tabs, a main, a rhythm tab, which we're going to dive into. Some of you might be familiar with Keep Forest's sequencer, but this thing is next level. This goes way beyond what they've done in previous iterations. And then obviously the effects, they have tons of effects that you can choose from. So just lots and lots of goodies under the hood. But let's go ahead and move to the next patch. Just try some of these real quick. Let's go ahead and dive over to the Cyberpunk kicks. Now the sounds are great, but again, the engine is where it's at. So let's take this one, for instance, just for fun. We won't go in too deep, but let's go ahead and just throw a rhythm on this just to get us started and let you just get a taste. Now, again, scratching the surface. We're going to dive a little bit deeper later. I mean, so cool. Now, you have tons of different layers here. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but just to show you for fun, let's grab the pitch layer. Let's turn it on. Let's randomize it. And we're going to create some even cooler stuff. I mean, goodness, really cool. Okay, we're going to come back to this. Let's keep moving through some of these impacts here. Let's go to Hybrid Mix Kick Cyber Tribal. Okay, we got to throw a rhythm on that one because that one's just too cool to pass up. Let's just create something from scratch here. I'm just going to generate a few. Here we go. Let's try this. Oop, let's turn it on. Okay, we're going to come back and dive a little bit deeper, but let's keep moving for now. Let's go to Kick Foundation. I mean, just some really, really great kicks here. Let's just go down and jump on this crunch tight real quick. Lots of good kicks. Let's try the distorted ones. And let's jump to the organics. Sound really good. And again, the sound sources here are, the majority of these are coming from actual Clockworks. So everything from the handles to the chimes to, you know, the casing. I mean, you name it. Let's go to Kick Thump. Okay. And let's end off with some snares here before we move to the next folder. All right. And you know, we're going to go through some more of these sounds, but I really want to dive into the engine because I think early on, a lot of people in the review are going to be really interested in that part. So before we proceed, I'm going to actually just show you around the engine a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on here. Let's go back to impacts. Well, we've got the modern. Okay, that'll work. Let's do that. All right, so first of all, and again, I'm just going to scratch the surface here, but the first thing that you can see is you've got your sample here. So as you play, you've got your visual of the sample. Now, what's really cool, you can hit the stretch mode button here, and you can actually extend the length of this sample across the keyboard. So if you had a tuned sample, for instance, you can actually play it. And I've found that it's actually pretty good about catching the correct tune of that sample and tuning it to 440. So yeah, pretty impressive. Right here, you'll see that you can actually do this cool thing called layering. So there's a doubling here. Let's play the default first. Now listen to the doubled version. And I can increase the width and the drift and delay. And I can even triple that. Really, really cool. Okay, over here, we've got the way the sample is played. So that you can do it to where it will do random round robins. You can do a tick-tock, which I believe is where it'll do a even, odd, even, odd. Then you can do just the odd samples, just the even samples, reversed. And you can't see it down here, but there's also a free that's dropping off the screen a little bit. Now, just to show you some of these, let's see if we can find one that actually has. Let's go back. Let's find this organic one and see if we can find one. There we go. There's a great example. So you can see as I play, it's actually just progressing. But if I want to go down to free, it's just going to go back and forth. And when I have free, I can actually take the start and the end of the sample and move it anywhere I want to particularly focus on one individual sample. Now, this is not necessarily important on this sound, but it becomes really important when you're using some other kinds of sounds. So you also have an ADSR control here, which sounds that are a little bit more resonant or have a larger, a longer release. You can tighten those up and make those, either tighter or looser. But let's go to the rhythm section. This is where the fun begins. So right here, I can simply turn on and off the sequencer by clicking the power button for the velocity. Obviously, I've got my velocity lanes. I've got my steps here. And you can see it's changing here. So I've got now 8 measures. If I turn that on, okay, now let's try that with the default. That's more like it, right? Now, that's just the sequence lane. Now, if I wanted to add panning to that, I can turn on the panning, I can hit the pan button, and I can randomize my panning, or I can draw it in myself. Let's just randomize it. Going back and forth. Okay, now I also have a filter. Can turn on the filter and you can see tons of different filter types here. I'm going to pick this Legacy Low Pass one and I'm going to randomize it. And let's just give that a whirl. Now I can change the sensitivity. Let's do the, let's try this one. You can see, depending on how high I have this, is whether or not the filter kicks in. Really, really cool. Let's randomize that a couple more times. So cool. Okay, let's take the filter off. Let's go to the pitch, and you can actually draw in pitches. Now, this gets even more crazy in a moment, but let me go ahead and randomize something to let you hear that first. Okay, now, right here, you've got a key sequence button as well, so I can turn that on, and I can randomize the keys and the sequence. You're going to see these keys here. These are representative of the keys on my keyboard because, again, each key has a different sample. So by randomizing this, by holding down one note, it's actually going to play different keys across my keyboard, thus triggering different samples in my rhythm sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and do the keys and the sequence, and you're going to see it updated here. I'm going to go ahead and do the keys now. So let's see, it's all A's. Let's try this. And let's do it again. really, really cool. I mean, it just really mixes it up. And the fact that you've got all those different samples spread out across the keyboard just really makes it super duper cool. Okay, but that's not all. But wait, there's more. You can actually go over here to Dynamics. You can turn on Dynamics. And this one's a little bit hard to explain for me, but kind of what it's doing is you can draw in something here. I'm going to change this to active. If I change it to active, this is actually going to increase or decrease the probability that the step being played is affected based on what I put in here. So the sensitivity, if I have it at 50%, that means 50% of the time it's going to trigger what's shown here instead of what's in the sequence. Or if I do it all the way, this will affect it every time. And you're going to see this little slider jump up and down as this plays. So let me just show you. You'll see this jump up and down. So again, we've affected it even more. If I turn that off just to let you hear. Now let's turn it on. So if you think about it, when I have this sensitivity all the way up, you're essentially getting an inverse reaction to what was playing in the main sequence. If I turn that down, it's only going to trigger 52% of the time now. So let's try that. It's just another way to vary your pattern yet again and again. With Dynamics, you have the velocity, you have the pan, you have the filter, you have the pitch. So you can totally rip your samples to shreds and create some super duper cool things. So let's go back here. I'm going to randomize the keys in the sequence again. I'm going to go back to Dynamics. I'm going to do some crazy panning. I'm going to do a little bit of filtering. I like that. And pitch, let's just kind of throw some things in here and there. Okay. Now we've got the sensitivity. Let's put it at about 80 and let's see what happens. And that's all from this. If I turn this off, so let's turn all this stuff off. And you're going to see, oh, take the Dynamics off there. You're going to see, that's all from just these raw samples. So let's turn it back on. Let you kind of hear what's going on again. And go back to the Dynamics tab, turn these on, and here we go. I mean, how cool is that? And one of the things I love that Keep Forest have done a great job of is right here, you can hit the little question mark and it will give you some guidance through what's being shown on the page at that time. And then you can hit the little H and it will give you the hotkeys. So I've not gotten used to the hotkeys yet because I'm still getting used to the engine itself, but the hotkeys are super cool because, like, for instance, if you want to go into the velocity sequence, I can do something like hitting Shift and F4 and you'll see Shift and F4, Shift and clicking the left mouse. Let me just reset this. Let's see. Let's reset everything. I've forgotten how to do that. So let's just see if we can draw this across. We'll just kind of do this here. All right. And if I hit something like Shift and click, you'll see it's taking the same, basically the same step in the sequence. So it's taking the same step and moving it up. If I do Control and click, it's going to take every one of them like that. And then if I take Alt and click, you can see, I think it's pulling up every single one. Let's just try that. I can't remember exactly, but just to show you, Yeah, it's grabbing every fourth one or the first of every one. If I do it on the third, it'll do the third of every one. So when you get used to this, there's just a lot of really cool, quick ways that you can create your own sequences. You've got copy and paste for your patterns. You can move things around. So like I can move this around to shift them, or I can do this to shift it around. I mean, there's just so many things. Again, barely scratching the surface here. You can see you can even introduce probability in your sequence. So you can do skip steps. And if you put that at 50% and change, or put your velocity at 50%, and we'll put our probability around 68%, it's going to skip some of these steps. So let me turn that off. Let's go back here. So now let me put the skip in. See, completely changes the sequence. Now, you also have ghost steps. So you can actually introduce some ghost notes essentially. And I'm going to put the probability way up and the velocity way up so you can hear that. Again, just crazy amounts of sound design. You also have a velocity curve here that you can interject. So you can change your velocity curve. You can do that an S-shaped curve. You can do it a brick wall. You can scale your curve. I'm going to do an S shape. And again, I also can use the mod wheel to control dynamics. Now, you can also go into the rhythms here, and you'll see that Keep Forest have actually given you 3,100 different custom rhythm presets. So a crazy amount here. Now you can tell it to only load the rhythm and it will only load what's in the sequencer, or you can tell it to load the entire thing. And if it loads the entire thing, it will load everything for all of the different layers, the dynamics, the pan, the pitch, all of that. You can also construct a rhythm randomly by clicking this button or by clicking this button here, and it will actually just randomly construct your sequence for you. You can see a randomize button here. So if I'm on velocity, it will randomize the velocity, the pan, filter, whatever I'm on at that time. And when I go into the dynamics, exact same thing. So you can randomize just to create some crazy happy accidents here. The other thing you can do on top of constructing your sequences, if you want to pick a random rhythm that Keep Forest has created out of that 3,100 custom presets, you can click that button and just OK, and it's going to load a random rhythm for you. I'm going to do it again, and I can just keep loading them as long as I want to. So I'm going to go over here, and you'll see. I mean, it's just crazy how much you can do with this. Now, let me show you where the real fun begins. We're going to come back to the folders in just a moment, but again, I think this is worth showing. We're going to go to the user sample import. Now, this is a clean slate that has just a couple of samples in it. Just a couple of easy, watch samples or clock samples, but we can load up to 47 of our own samples. 47. Just a crazy number. So I'm just going to grab a couple here that I've just got sitting on my hard drive. I'm going to just pull them in. As I do that, I'll go to add new, and it's going to add that new sample here. Now I'm going to change this to free, and I'm going to tighten that sample up. Okay, let's put another one on. I'm going to drag this one in. Let's pull it over. Okay, I'm going to grab another one. Don't even know what I'm getting here. Just pulling some random samples in. And we're going to see what comes out the other side. Ooh, that's a cool one. And again, I can tighten that up or loosen it up, however you want to do it. Now, let me hold those three down. Now, let's grab something a little bit more. I'm grabbing a bunch of clickers here, essentially. There's a little bass drum for us. Okay, and let me just go grab, I don't know, let's see what we've got here. Let's try maybe this one here. I'm going to drag it in, I'm going to add it. So there's a tune sample. Let's tighten it up. Okay, now let's go create, actually, let's double those up. Let's make them wide. And let's go over here to the rhythm. I'm just going to create a brand new rhythm. And let's see what that sounds like just on the surface. Just like that, I have a pulse and a rhythm, an instant pulse and a rhythm from my own samples that have been layered together. Now, let's actually, let's go to the key sequence. Let's turn that on, and let's see what happens to it now. Oh! Which one is that? Oh, it's grabbing those two at the bottom. Let me tighten those up. Let's see, let me turn that off. Let's tighten these up. Doing something wrong there. Oh, it's the key sequence. Let me turn that off. There we go. Let's tighten this up. Let's tighten that up there. All right, here we go. Now, let's put the key sequence on. Let's randomize it, and here we go. Now, see, it's just randomly selecting a note. Now, I can click the note, and I can press the key, and actually pick what I want it to play. So now, let me put that one back on there. I mean, you can just go crazy with this. So let's actually, I'm going to do something kind of fun here. Let me turn this one back off. Let's turn the dynamics off. Let's turn the key sequence off. And now I have a sample of my son from many years ago. He loves Minecraft. So that's him saying Minecraft. Well, let's just kind of tighten that up. I mean, and you can see this thing is just crazy. Let's grab. Okay, let's tighten that up here. What have I done? I have lost. Oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for. There we go. So you can see this just gets Now let's turn that on. Let's just turn this on and see what happens. I mean, you can create the coolest things. Now you could actually take that sample, you can stretch it. I'm going to say, let's go down to 36 and let's go up 36. And then suddenly my Minecraft child is playable on the keyboard. I mean, how cool is that? That you can see the potential. Now you start loading effects on there, you can just create some crazy stuff. So I'm just going to throw some effects on there. Let's see, this is... I mean, again, these are just my own custom sounds, just playing in a few minutes. The crazy stuff that we can do with this. It's just absolutely insane. Okay, let's go back to the sounds now. We've looked at the sound design engine. We've barely scratched the surface again. Not to even mention this cool graphic here. I mean, how cool is that as you're playing? Look at that. Oh, that is just so cool. Okay, let's get back into the sounds here. We're going to go to the countdown folder. And this is high centric. Now these will be kind of hard to hear because they're kind of quiet. Okay, let's go to mid centric. Really cool sounding. Let's go to low centric too. Okay, let's go to low wide 1. I mean, just tons of sounds. Each of these, you can see. That's just me playing the same note over and over again. Tons of round robins. Let's go to the mechanics. And I know those are a little hard for you to hear. The big thing to remember about this library is it's not so much about the individual sounds as the rhythmic engine that allows you to just create some crazy cool stuff. Like, I mean, just, you can just go in here and just create the coolest rhythms. Let's actually just take and randomize a couple more times here. Let's turn up the frequency to 8th notes. It's almost like getting a rhythm out of a typewriter, isn't it? And you can see there's clocks, rotation, percussion, handling, ricochet, slowdown, switch bells, textures, and pulses. We're just going to go over a few more of these, and then I really want to get into the multis to let you hear some of those. So let's jump down to clocks and just do a couple of those. Throw a rhythm on there. Just so cool. Let's go to Plastic Basic. Now, let me show you something else in this rhythm engine that's really cool. If we go over here to advanced, we can actually play chords, and it will this will actually determine how many of the sounds play on any given step. I'm going to, let me just randomize this a little bit, because I really want to give you an idea of what you can do here. So now we're going to randomize the chords. So let me see if I can remember how to do that. I believe, yep, that's it. Let me just grab a few of these. I'm trying to remember. I think that there's actually a hotkey that allows you to randomize a bunch of chords at one time, and I'm just totally forgetting how that works. So I'm just going to grab some randomly while we're here and let you hear what happens as a result. I mean, how cool is that? And the more of these that you introduce, the more layered your sounds become. This is actually picking the sample that's going to be played on each of these notes, or each of these lanes of the sequencer. Let's try it again. I mean, how cool is that? That's just really, really neat. Okay, let's jump down to handlings. And I'm going to jump down to the epic mix of handlings and let you hear what's happening here. You can imagine you can come up with some super cool rhythms with this one. All right, let's try this one. And once again, let's go to advanced. And I'm trying to remember. I wish I could remember. Is it? No. Oh, there it is. It's the random button right there. I should have known. Okay, now listen to this. I mean, you could just have so much fun with this thing. Okay, let's do maybe a couple of more. I definitely don't want to miss the pulses because there's just some crazy cool sounds in here. Listen to this doom bass. This is nasty. Isn't that so cool? And you can see what the sequence is doing here. So there's velocity, there's pan, there's filter, there's pitch, and there's layers. And then the key sequence is happening here, and it's re-triggering each time. And you can see these different notes. These are the different samples it's playing, and the pitch is controlling that little diddle-a-doon-doon-doon-doon-doon, which is so, so cool. So let's play that. I mean, that is just so cool. Let's try the doom bass soft. I mean, come on. And the crunch bass? And let's do Crunchbase Soft. See it jumping between the samples? I mean, come on. That is so cool. Here's the Crunchbase Wide. I mean, man, this is just killer. Let's go to Long Bass Soft. And I should point out, of course, the red notes control the tune. So if I want to go up a half note, I mean, you can see just really, really cool. All right, let's jump down to the mid pulses bright. And let's end off with mid pulses soft for this folder. And you know, you can combine those again. Let's just turn on the key sequence. Let's go to advanced. We've got the chords. Let's just randomize that and see what we get. I mean, that is so cool. Just the layering potential. It's crazy. Okay. There's tons of stuff we've not even touched. And then not to even mention the raw folder where you can find the raw samples that you can work with. But let's actually go ahead and go into the multis. So you're going to see in the multis, there are a ton of them, over 300. So let's go ahead. You'll see that you have the same types of folders in the multis, but you also have artist stems. So I want to let you hear some of those to give you an idea of what's going on. So let's start with Driven Countdown Dark Dirge 1. I mean, come on. This is just crazy. Let's go to Digital Dynamo 1. I mean, this is just crazy. Gene Sonic 1. Now, if you think to yourself, but gosh, that's already, that's kind of already pre-made and it's not something I can use because everyone else is going to be using it. Oh, contraire. This is so cool. This little engine they've created for multis, this controls all of your multis. I'm going to go to the advanced tab and show you that you can go to the sequencer. So let me let you hear that rhythm again. Okay, I'm going to hit random rhythm and it's going to completely change everything. I mean, position If I want to shift everything to a random position, you've created something entirely new in 1 or 2 button clicks. Dynamics, panning, doubling, all of it. You can randomize pretty much everything. So I'm going to randomize everything here on the Dynamics tab. And obviously, when you find something that's close to what you like and you want to tweak it a little bit, you can just open up the engine of each one and tweak it to your heart's content. But this is so freaking cool. I mean, just the ability to be able to randomize on the fly, to change the dynamics. So, you know how we talked about the dynamics and having that threshold where it kicks in kind of the bipolar version? That allows you to do it right here from the fly for everything. All right, let's jump down to voltage. Oops, voltage vortex. Isn't that cool? How about machinery warfare? Machinery warfare. One of the things that amazes me about this, true confessions, I'm actually running this library right now off of just a standard hard disk. I'm not even using an SSD. I'm just using a hard drive, 7,200 RPM hard drive. I mean, this thing is loading crazy fast with just a 7,200 RPM hard drive. You can see all of these multis have loaded in a matter of just a few seconds. But let's go back. Let's go to advanced. And once again, I'm going to go to the sequencer. Let's remind you what it sounds like. Let's randomize it. I mean, that's already even cooler than what I had. I mean, and that's going to be unlike anything anyone else has because it's just randomizing it. And then if I want to construct it, so this is grabbing the rhythms that Keep Forest have created. If I want to hit construct rhythm, it's just going to make something completely random. Do it again. I mean, I'm sitting here bobbing my head. This is so freaking cool. And that's literally one folder of one folder. We've barely even touched one folder of one folder. You can see there are so many things. Let's go to Cyber Tribal Generators, Cybernetic Rebellion. I love cyberpunk music, so let's see what we've got here. And once again, I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to construct a new rhythm. It's grabbing random instruments and random keys. This thing is just stupid cool. See how fast that loaded? All of those contact instances. I mean, in a couple of seconds. Let's randomize it. Construct something completely new. And again. come on. Golly. Tension countdowns. Let's grab a couple of those. Instant crime investigation track. Let's construct it. Can you make this thing sound bad? I'm yet to make these sound bad. These really sound good, and I'm just constructing something random. Okay, again. I mean, I just can't tell you how much I love this thing. All right, we're just only going to have time for a few more monkeys. I mean, right there is an entire cyberpunk song in a multi. Let's just construct it, see what happens. All right, let's construct it again. All right, now here's where you can, I mean, I'm barely scratching the surface. This thing is crazy. Okay, you can hit the drop down here and you can pick another kind. So let's say we want a climax build straight. And I just want to construct something random, but in that kind of genre. I mean, this thing is just crazy. Okay, let's go to the sound design. I'm going to jump to pulses. Let's just go with a random hybrid pulse. And another one. Let's construct our own. I mean, friends, you can see the potential. It's just absolutely insane what you can do with this. You can see there's even a bells, which is using, the chimes and that kind of thing from different clocks. Let's just try one of these and see what happens. Bell percussion. Let's construct our own. I mean, this is just crazy, crazy, crazy cool. Tones. I'm just going to grab one more. I keep saying I'm going to stop, and yet it's just too fun. Let's go to Organic Pulse 5. Let's try Organic Punch Tone. Oh, okay. So that one's not sequenced. And high tones, let's go mechanical. I mean, you can see there's just so much in here. We have barely scratched the surface. This instrument is absolutely insane. I mean, what is there not to like? You've got tons of great samples, everything from those doom basses and pulses to all sorts of clock-inspired mechanical sounds and chimes and knocks and you name it. But the engine, oh my goodness. You can layer 47 different sounds in the user import area. So right here in the user sample import NKI, or you can even layer 7 of your own sounds on top of the patches that are here. So you can layer the patches that you have here with 7 of your own samples. You can see the sky is the limit with this. I started playing with it. I watched a lot of the videos, read some of the manual, played around a bunch with it. And I got to tell you, this thing is an instant inspiration starter, and it creates rhythms that there's no way I would have come up with on my own. It creates patterns that there's no way I would have come up with on my own. I instantly started writing tracks once I began to understand how to use this. And it's not just, Keep Forest is mostly known for those big trailer epic sounds. It's not just for that. I started using this on kind of Nordic Scandi type tracks. You can use it on ambient tracks, and you can, of course, use it on those big, bold, brash, epic trailer tracks. This thing fits the bill in 100 different ways, but the engine itself, this is way beyond a Kontakt instrument. The engine is worth the price of admission all alone because there's so much you can do with it with your own samples. I have thousands of samples sitting on my hard drive that this kind of thing breathes brand new life into. So I just highly encourage you to check this one out. Once again, it's Watchkeeper by Keep Forest. Thanks so much for joining me for the review today. Thanks for checking out Watchkeeper with me today. So what are your thoughts? Is this a library you would use in your own work? What kinds of sounds can you imagine making with it? Comment below and let us know your thoughts. Please like the video and share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Also, make sure to check out SampleLibraryReview.com for more news and reviews, and stay in the know about weekly sales via our weekly deal compressor.